Hey, before today's episode of Same Business, Different Day, I want to invite you to listen to Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast, where we interview the movers, shakers, and changemakers of Vista, California. Watch Velocity on YouTube or tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. Velocity, moving Vista forward.
Well, I stayed home with the kids for 20 years. And I always like to say I was the CEO of the Smith household.
Because, you were.
Because I kept it all together there with the kids and supported Amir and what he needed to do. And so once our oldest graduated and our youngest was on his way to high school, gave me the opportunity to go into what it is I wanted to do for myself. And I had his full support, the kids' full support.
I love that support.
It's the whole family support thing for me.
You know, it's just like, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. So while you're doing your thing, I support you, get you to where you need to be, and vice versa. It doesn't mean you're leaving yourself out, because I didn't feel left out at all.
Right.
At any part of our relationship. And like he said, the consulting was there between us along the way. The real estate, even with the real estate, running numbers and all that good stuff. You know, it's just like, that was me. I'm in the administration part of it.
Right.
You know, collecting the rent, all of that was on me.
Right.
But I feel like going into my passion, which for me was the thrifting, and that led me into design. I had his full support with that. So, and the kids as well. So,
and that's a balance in itself for you, because that's really what you wanted to do.
Like, really what
that's
I
a comfort
to do.
zone for you anyway, right? So your work-life balance is your work, almost.
Right.
You know? That's pretty awesome.
And I don't even
Not many
see
people
it as
can
work,
get that.
because it's just something that I enjoyed so much already.
Same business, different day.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the Same Business, Different Day podcast. I'm your host, Zeke Corley, recording from the incredible studio here at the Film Hub this is the new label that we have. I didn't know that this label for Vista, America's Climatic Wonderland.
Well, excuse me.
Vista, California. Your favorite guest co-host is here with me today, the host of Let Me Touch That podcast.
Yes.
And co-host of the upcoming Odd Pairings podcast. The big-brained and unfiltered Natasha Mills is sitting in with us today. Thank you, Natasha, for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me again.
All right.
I love that I'm
Welcome
fan
back.
favorite.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, guys, this is the final episode of Meraki season. It's upon us, and we don't want to oversell it, but this is definitely a saved the best for last type situation. It was my hardest get this season, but I had to call in the special forces, and we made it happen. Treci and Amir were sitting across from me at this networking event that you guys have all heard about, where I met them this season. Now, we talked family, business, music, cocktails. It was the power and intention behind everything that they said that intrigued me the most. I've met unhappy millionaires. I know very satisfied people of very few means. But there is nothing more calming than talking to business people that are celebrating their present day life as a plan that came together. I'm so happy for these two and proud to introduce style to the Same Business, Different Day audience. Welcome, Treci and Amir Smith. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Wow.
Generous. Very generous.
And we had a good time that night, though. I really did. I was so glad that I was sitting across from you guys that night, right? I could have been sitting across from anybody else, but we kept it nice and cool and casual. I think we had the best corner of the table, personally. We had a blast. So, okay, the way this podcast works, we're going to talk about you and your early experiences that molded you and how you became the incredible and influential business people that you are today.
Wow.
Okay, And the reason for that is just because we want folks who are at those early stages, where you were, to kind of see that there's some parallels there, that they can do it too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If they just follow the right paths, and it doesn't have to be exactly your path.
Yeah.
But if they can do it too. Okay, we all started somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So where did it all start for you, Amir?
Where do we want to start?
Where were you born?
I was born in St. Louis.
Okay.
Yep. So the Midwest.
Uh-huh.
We moved here in '78.
Okay.
After maybe '77, after my parents' divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So we were here. We lived in Oceanside for a little while.
Take me back. I want to go back to St. Louis. You know why, though?
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because as I've been looking into you a little bit, I see you out there on the tractor. I see you out there in the yard, right? Right? You got some chickens and stuff.
We do have
We're not
some
giving away
chickens.
anything yet.
Yes.
We'll reveal what they do later. But I feel like, so is there any St. Louis influence to this love for the outdoors?
From that, no, only there may be something deep down in there, right?
Okay.
But my family, they lived in the city and everything, but you know how the Midwest is. So there, you're only really one generation away from people having yard birds, chickens, that sort of thing. So people are a lot more self-reliant then, so everybody had a garden. And so maybe there's something way back in there that was a seed planted. When we were here, when we moved here, we lived in apartments and that sort of thing. So I'm going to jump around a little bit here.
Please.
Once we were married and we had the space, Treci and I always wanted chickens. So we got chickens.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, people. Do it. And bought a tractor. We ended up with a house. We have about 3/4 of an acre, so enough space to do a few things that you might want to do.
I love it.
I remember when I met you guys, and that was the first thing someone told me. They have chickens. I said, wait, black people got chickens?
Yeah.
In California, black people got chickens?
Yeah.
Wow.
We hear that a lot. Yeah, we hear that a lot. We really do.
Yeah. We may not look like we have chickens, but we are outdoor people too, right?
Yeah.
So I like to say I like to be able to put on a pair of overalls or a pair of Carhartts, go out, get my hands dirty in the yard, go do some things, and also have a nice dinner.
I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
Have a nice glass of wine or something like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Go from a tractor to a Aston Martin if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't see why not, right?
Right.
I mean, because
Right.
there are plenty of folks in the South that are living that same life, right? And my parents are from Arkansas and Mississippi. And I love being in the fields, but like you said, I love sitting down having a nice glass of wine and all of that.
Nothing's wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong with that.
So how about you, Treci? Where did it all start for you?
I was born in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay.
So we're both Midwestern. I moved from there when I was 10. My dad was military. So we kind of hopped around a little bit, Virginia, San Francisco, and then San Diego.
Okay.
And so I moved here when I was probably 13. So pretty much grew up in San Diego.
Yeah.
And
You from here now?
I'm from here.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel that way.
Yeah.
Let me see, what else? So military background, moved around a lot here. Even in San Diego, we lived in Pacific Beach. We moved to Tirisana first. We were in, what's the military housing?
I forget what it's called, but it's off of.
I know exactly
Yeah,
where
it's
it is.
Moraine.
Canyon.
Yep.
Murphy
Canyon.
Canyon.
Yep.
I used to have an office
Lived in
over
Murphy
there.
Canyon for, I think, like a year and a half, it feels like. And then we were in Mission Bay. And then not too long after that, I went to college, and
Yeah, they
Amir
were
and I, we met in high school.
right.
So,
Yeah, we did.
we met in high. We didn't date.
Where in
We
middle
just
high
met.
school? Where?
He
So
was at Madison.
I went to Madison.
and I was at what
You were at Sarah.
I was at Sarah. No, I wasn't.
Yeah,
No, I was in Mission Bay then.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at Mission
yeah.
Bay. So I was at Mission Bay High. He was at
Yeah.
Madison.
So we were bused from Madison. I lived in Southeast San Diego.
Okay.
And near Lincoln High School. But at the time, they were busing us out to Madison. And Lincoln was turning into a preparatory school. So it was interesting. So the kids that lived in Skyline, the kids that lived over in Lincoln Park were being bussed out to Madison. But that's where we met. So,
which is a whole
nother subject.
Who introduced us. But we didn't date. We would see each other out, stayed friends for a while. And
I want to find, her name was Kelly. I want to find Kelly one day.
Kelly Henson. Yeah.
Kelly Henson. If you're out there, Kelly, look us
she's
up.
Still out there. Right. Or not, but
right. And Kelly made this magic. Yeah.
She did. She said, I had a friend I want you to meet.
Yeah. So. Okay. So, Amir, going back to you in terms of when you was in St. Louis.
Okay.
Who would you say were like some mentors you had, some early influencers that you knew?
I was so young. I would say the main influences would have been my family, my grandfather, my uncles, people like that, and also my grandmother. And it's interesting. We're influenced by so many people, and so when parents divorce, of course the parents don't really know what's going on, but the children then need to piece together, especially if there's a break. Like that was pretty common in the 70s, that break typically was messy. Everything was different then. Domestic violence, how it was perceived, and so on and so forth. So a lot of times I've spoken with other friends of mine, you're piecing together your idea of manhood.
Right.
Ooh.
Right. So you take a little bit of this. It may be the pastor of the church. It may be the guy over here. Maybe a little bit of this and that, and you kind of put this thing back together about your idea of manhood as you enter it. And so I took parts and pieces. Uncles, grandfather, all sorts of people.
I love
friends, fathers. So on and so forth. I had a friend. His dad was military man. And my friend did something to upset his mother, right? And his dad, he's telling me the story. And he said, my dad came in my room and said, boy, you've upset my wife or my woman. He didn't say you upset your mother. He said, you upset my woman, right? And I thought that was so interesting.
That is.
That he was treating his son like, look,
a stranger.
There's a problem.
Yeah.
You have now offended the line of the house.
Yeah.
So he was dealt with. I thought it was interesting. I always admired the man for that. I wanted to make sure when I stayed over there, I didn't cross no lines.
Right.
I didn't,
at least
going to that refrigerator. Right.
You wasn't about to upset his woman.
No, I was not going to upset the woman. But you grab all of these characters and you put something together, and hopefully what you put together is something that will sustain you.
It's got to.
It has to.
You got to make the best of it.
Yeah.
I've had this conversation with friends before. Like, I've got my uncle's walk, and I've got the friend that my dad's friend that used to come camping with us. I got his laugh. I don't know how I got his laugh, but for some reason I was intrigued by it, and I just picked up on it. So you just got these little pieces, and then you just put together who you are. I don't necessarily think that that's just because of divorce. I think that's kind of how we put together the Lego pieces growing up.
You're right.
But I'm sure that we're seeking more when it comes to divorce, and maybe even earlier on.
Yeah.
Somebody be a father figure or tell me something.
Yeah, because once it's broken, then you're pulling this all together. Where if it was the family was able to sustain, then you can kind of casually do it. You feel like
sure,
you're gonna pick up a little bit of this from blah blah blah.
And part of that I would say is just finding your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Even as a child, coming into yourself, but trying to figure out who you are, and so you see these influences throughout the family and friends to see if I want to be that type of woman or that type of man. Or,
is that a positive enough influence for me to mimic or be like, or negative enough for some people? It's like, I'm looking for the worst guy I can find.
Sure.
So I'm the youngest of four. So when being the youngest of four, I knew what not to do.
Exactly.
Just watching my siblings. So the things that they were getting in trouble, like, Try
because
that
they got
one.
in
Yeah.
trouble. That's
Yes,
how you knew
I'm
what not to
gonna
do.
try that one. That won't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just paying attention to your surroundings, and family was a big influence. I think because we're both from large families,
Right.
and so a lot of cousins, aunts, and uncles.
There's some strength in that, though.
Definitely.
That's a good
It's
thing.
Definitely.
huge.
Absolutely.
It's
You know,
Yeah.
because imagine being an only child in the types of situations
Yes.
that you're talking
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
right? So now let's expand on that question a little bit more, and because I'm kind of interested in if anybody kind of influenced towards entrepreneurship, anybody kind of was like, this is how to be a man and a boss, or a big, you know, like how to do your thing. Not
me
just
go first?
controlling my woman, but
Or
Because
protecting
that was
her,
good.
right?
I need somebody to be like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Listen.
When it comes to your wedding, you want to look and feel your best. You don't need to settle for anything less than perfection on the most important day of your life. With Meraki Allure, you can have a custom-designed and measured wedding dress that is exactly what you imagine. They will work with you to choose the perfect style and materials so you can enjoy your dream wedding day knowing that you look stunning. Let Meraki Allure help make your special day unforgettable. Book your consultation today at MerakiAllure.com. That's MERAKIALLURE.com. Ignoring squills and warning lights on your car is not a good way to lower the cost of owning it. And going without essential business insurance is not a good way to save money in your business. What we know for sure is doing either will cost you more than you will save in the short and the long run. With YourInsurancePlace.com, you can trust a specialist to help maintain your cars and avoid major expenses. Business owners should look to business insurance specialists when it comes to finding competitively priced, quality insurance coverage for their businesses. At YourInsurancePlace.com, we specialize in workers' compensation, general and professional liability, employment practices and cyber liability, property owner policies, and bonds for most types of businesses. YourInsurancePlace.com knows that we can help. If you're uncovered, need to lower the cost of your current insurance, or need better coverage, we can help. YourInsurancePlace.com has been helping businesses for close to 40 years. If you need a quote on your insurance, call us now at 858-569-8100 or find us at YourInsurancePlace.com. We are business insurance specialists ready to help.
Hi, I'm Jeff Fox, founder of Star Fox Media. We're a digital marketing and video production company that focuses on serving small businesses here in Vista, California. We have the team and all of the equipment necessary to produce, film, edit, and distribute your podcast to as many people as possible. For more information, you can reach out to us via email at info@starfox.media or give us a call at 760-385-3117. Let Star Fox Media help you tell your brand story today.
There was a big influence on me.
Okay.
There's a barbershop on Imperial. It's called Gentry's Family Barbershop, right?
Okay.
At the time, Mr. Gentry was still alive. I think I was about 18 or 19 when I started going there. And he had, I think he has 4 sons altogether, but 3 of them cut hair, and then his daughter at the time. And I was lucky enough to get into Mr. Gentry's chair, right? And so Mr. Gentry would tell me, he was just giving me these little nuggets. He was like, kid, he saw I was working and everything was good. He was like, kid, this is what you got to do. He said, you got to get money working for you. Mm-hmm. He said, it never wants to take a nap. It never sleeps. It won't call in sick on you. It won't do anything. It
So
just
true.
wants to work.
I heard that.
Work.
Man, that's good. Yeah.
And so that was something that I remembered. And his game, what he was doing was real estate.
Okay.
Right? And so I don't remember how many homes, but it was a lot. To me,
Yeah.
it seemed like a lot. Maybe 15 or 20 houses or
Yeah.
something.
That's a lot.
That's
It was a lot. And he would tell me, when it was time to buy something, that this is what he would do. If he was buying himself a new car, or they were buying his wife a new car, he would go in and he could just pay for it, right? And that stuck. That was probably the biggest influence as far as just that basic idea of making money work.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Because there's something we can all do. If we're clever, we can create a little more time. We can build, a little more creative with our time. But there is something we all can do. We can all make money, especially in this society.
Yes.
I don't care if you're hustling oranges or silicon chips. It doesn't really matter. Everybody can do it, right? So you just need to figure out how it is you're going to do it, and then how this system works, right? And that's what it opened my eyes up to, just that idea. Even though I went on to trade time for money, and I still trade. I have a W-2, but my wife and I also have other means of making money.
Okay, I thought you were gonna get ahead. I want to announce about that. Yeah, no, you're dropping jewels.
Right.
That's such an important message, and you got that, and that was a non-family member, right?
That was a
wasn't your
non-family
uncle
member,
yeah.
and I think his youngest son, was cutting my hair for a long time. I would say, Elijah, man, your dad, he just dropped. It was just a blessing, it was a blessing to sit in that chair and talk and just listen. I was just ear hustling,
I love it.
And it's funny because he was like, yeah, that's what Mr. Gentry did. That's what the way it was someone would tell us.
But so that's just so important.
Beautiful.
That's why we asked the question,
Yeah.
right? And I want to ask you the same question too, Tracy. But really, I just think it's so important to know what those messages are, right? That sink into your head. Some of them just stick for some reason. It's across the board.
Yes.
And sometimes it influences what you wanted to be when you grew up, and maybe you know what you wanted to be, or maybe you figured that out later. But at least you got messages, and you saw somebody who was driving up and down the street in a nice ride, or eating well, or at least even, like you said, own a couple of houses or had a couple of businesses, and you're like, okay, this guy's different than everybody else in the neighborhood.
Right.
Why? What makes him different? And if he can turn around and give you some of that information, that's just, it's priceless.
Oh, it was priceless.
It's such a good
It
beginning.
was priceless.
And I love that, because when I think about people who I want to be in terms of a visionary, that's what I want to do. I want people to say that when I'm dead and gone, to be like, no, Natasha, she used to drop these gems just all over the place.
Right.
And I picked that up, and just hearing her talk about that, like for Mr. Gentry to be doing that.
Yeah.
And you at that tender young age of 18,
Yeah.
being going like, damn, that's okay, sir, tell me more.
Yeah.
Like to hear that and to be at that age, which a lot of people wasn't.
Right.
Because I know for myself, at 18, I was in the Navy. I was like doing crazy stuff in the Navy. No one could have told me at that time and been like, oh yeah, you should go into this. I'd have been like, oh, that sounds cute, but I'm going to do this Navy thing because this is what's working. And it's didn't work for me in terms of like what I'm doing now. But I love that you listened to him and like, oh no, I'm taking this.
Right.
And I'm going to run with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, speaking of that, though, right? And I'm glad that you brought that up, because it sounds like, Trecie, you were raised in a military family. Did you ever consider going to the military?
No, never.
Okay.
Never marry military or again went into the military myself. That was out for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the stability, and so the moving around. Although it taught me a lot, like in the design world, of seeing different things and seeing how different people live.
Yeah.
But I didn't want that for myself.
Okay.
So yeah, no, stability was what I was looking for.
So then, what about the early influences for you?
Yeah.
I would say entrepreneurship or early influence would be my grandmother.
Okay.
She had a flower shop.
Okay.
When I want to say I was probably about 8 or 9. And I remember us walking from the school bus to her flower shop every day after school. Me, my siblings, and my cousins. And that was our meeting spot. And then we have to go sometimes just walk back up to my grandparents' house after that, or either stay there until our moms get off of work.
Did you help out?
Only when she wanted us to. My grandmother did not want anybody messing with her stuff.
Yeah, she wanted that control.
She
was
liked
like,
things her way.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty amazing for her. My grandfather, I feel like they're almost like we mimic that lifestyle of what I can remember.
Yeah.
Of those two. My grandfather was out working. My grandmother ran her own business.
Yeah.
And even with 9 kids.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it's like in 28 of us first cousins. So a lot of grandchildren.
Yeah.
Greats and great-greats. My grandmother's still alive, so she's 99 years old.
Shout out to Roberta.
Yes. She's a Christmas baby.
Come on now.
So yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, she would be my first influence.
I love it.
Of entrepreneurship for sure. Design, are we there yet?
Nope.
No. Okay.
How about early jobs? Did you have any other jobs, either, the first jobs or early jobs that kind of stuck
Early
with you
jobs.
mentally?
I think when we lived in San Francisco, I remember working under the table.
Okay.
I don't even know how old I was. I had to be about 12 or 13.
Oh.
It's right before we
You
moved
had
to
to get
San
under
Diego.
the
Yeah.
table, yeah.
So it, I just remember, working under the table and just like sorting out. This guy had a shop, and I remember his bangles was the main thing I remember. I can't remember what else he sold in the shop, but just like I'm bagging them and sorting them out. Bangles.
Oh, bangles.
Like basic black bracelet
okay.
bangles. Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know why I was so drawn to the store. Maybe because of the bangles, and I love jewelry, so maybe that was it.
Yeah.
And,
Was he Indian?
No.
Oh,
no. And you know what? And I don't even know what he was, to be honest with you.
Okay.
At that time, I just remember the back of the store and sorting these bangles out, and him paying me a little.
How did you get the job?
I was out with my mom and a friend, and I don't know. We stopped in the store, and I just asked him, was he hiring? That I needed a job.
I heard that. You
So,
got that hustle early.
Yeah, I was. I don't
Hey,
even
you guys paying?
exactly.
I take
And so
cash.
he was like,
Man, I was still trying to learn how to ride my bike. I'm like, what you mean? Get a job. Did you hear about this new Barbie?
right. Oh, I was doing that at home. I had the Barbies laid out at home, but that money.
yeah. You get new
Yeah.
Barbies with that.
Exactly.
Barbie gets some good hair.
Right.
How about you, Amir? Early jobs, first jobs? You remember any?
Just odds
stick
and
with you?
ends.
Okay.
I was fortunate at 18 to get a job with a pretty good company, a really good company. I still work
At
for
14?
No, at 18.
18.
Yeah,
Okay.
So that summer after I graduated high school.
Okay.
Yeah. So and I worked a few odds and ends before that. But
So you started this job at 18.
yeah, I was like 18 and a half when I started working at this company.
Love it. Now, I mean, did you study for any particular field before you went into that job, or you got into it first?
Barely made it out of high school.
I respect it. No, you know what? But that's an important piece of the story, right?
Yeah.
We talk about it all the
It's so
time.
common
Yes.
for people because we're not learning what we want to do in life
Exactly.
in school.
You're not
So of course
learning.
we're like, I'm just trying to get out of here.
Yeah.
What's the bare minimum
Yeah.
I need to do? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember my mother told me that this company was hiring, right? And went down and applied and got the job and did a number of things in that company. I read meters. I was I hired in as a messenger. This was like an internal mail person. I thought it was a great job. At 18, they gave you a car. You're driving around all these places. delivering
Right,
cards.
right.
Internal company mail is great. Walking around. And then I read meters, and then I got into an apprenticeship. And like I said, after that, it was wide open.
Yeah.
And so, lots of opportunities.
The reason why I like to say it's an important conversation about education, right? Because heck, you're working on your PhD, right? There's so many different folks that take different routes, right?
Sure.
And again, as we talk about these parallels that people can see, right? There are people who are struggling to get out of high school now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
man.
Who thought, I thought I was going to start a business, but maybe I'm just not good enough. And then maybe they have people around them who didn't have the good influence, didn't have Mr.
Right.
Gentry, right? Who are just telling them, well, I guess you're not going to be nothing. You know what I'm saying? I guess
Right.
you're going to jail. I guess, whatever.
Yeah. And some of these kids
but
are smart.
Sure.
Yes.
I mean,
There's no
sharp.
doubt about it.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
And so there are various routes that can be taken. You've taken it. You've found your way. You know what I'm saying? You're smart. Now, and then you also had your mother saying, there's a job over here.
Yes.
Not just go out in the street because you ain't gonna be nothing in life. You know what I'm saying? So you have these conversations. That's why these conversations are so important. That's why we do this show because we're talking about where you are now, but we talk about the route, how you got there.
Right. Exactly. Or some of us make it out of high school top 10. I ain't gonna say who at this table, but and then barely make it out of undergrad. Like barely made it out of undergrad. I was struggling.
Sure.
Because the school that I was in high school wasn't teaching me how to be an adult in terms of like going to college.
Yeah.
And that was different for me. So I was like I was like, no, they told me I was smart. I graduated top 10. Come on.
Yeah.
Somebody. And then I got there and I was like, wait, it's other people way smarter than me. No one prepared me for this part.
Right.
You know, and so for that, like, I think that people need to know that sometimes it's don't worry about what the now is, especially when it comes to school, but just get out of there and then find your passion.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's where life really starts.
That's where it starts. It begins there. It begins
I love
there.
that. I love that.
That was a saying I heard one. Actually, I heard my mentor say this. You don't stop worrying about how, just worry about who, and that allows you to then open up, and don't be afraid to tell your dreams to people, because you never know where that help is going to come from, or who you're talking to.
I like that a lot.
Right? Because then that builds your confidence to even sit down and across from someone and tell somebody, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. I've already put it out on the table now. Yeah. I like that. So how about you, Trecie? In school, like, so how much time did you spend in school before you went into the direction that you've gone into now? We're not going to talk about what you're doing now, but did you study it specifically? Did you?
No. So in high school, for me, they had this program called ROP. Do you remember that program? It's a Regional Occupational Program.
Okay.
I don't know if it exists anymore.
Yeah.
But so I took banking, and it was funny enough over at Amir's school where he was. But I don't know if he had graduated that year because we're a year apart from each other. But thinking that once I graduate high school, then I'm going into banking. You get certified, get a little certificate. You even do like a little internship through it and everything. So the last 2 hours of my school day was going over to his school and taking that program.
Okay.
And so for me, coming out of high school, my intentions was like, oh, I'm going to work in a bank. I was told I had to go to college. I did go to college. I went to college for 1 year, Long Beach State, and ended up moving out of state after the first year because my dad had to relocate. And at the time, both me and my sister was at Long Beach State. Okay. And realized, like, we can't make it on our own, you know, like, sustain a living here. We're living in the dorms. We can't afford to live in apartments and go to school full time. And so we left. We left with them. I did work for a bank initially, started in a finance company. So
wasn't what you wanted to do, though. I mean,
no.
Did you ever have any ideas what you wanted to be when you grew up? Or did you?
I didn't. I always thought, I'll just be in administration of some kind, and you know, working in the finance company was really good for me. Taught me a lot about credit, how important that was, so I did. There was some great skills that I got out of that, but it wasn't ultimately what I wanted for myself.
Yeah. I like that. I like that you said that those great skills, because one of the questions that we do ask, though, you know, because before folks become whatever entrepreneur they've become, you know, in these success stories that we like to tell, we like to talk about these lessons that they may have learned in the corporate world. And I imagine that that's what you've learned too. Now, and I want to talk about this, you know, a little bit about the thermography field and all that, because that's a monster. I was just talking to Natasha about what it is. I had to study to figure this out. I'm sure you had to study to get into this, you know, this wasn't a messenger anymore. I mean, it's like, it's science, man. This is engineering stuff you're doing right now. And it's amazing what you're doing. Can you explain a little bit about what you learned and what it is that you do?
I'll go back a little bit. So, like I said before, I read meters, did some the mail, hired into the mailroom. Then I got into an apprenticeship, right? And I became a lineman, right? So that those are the guys out working on the power poles, right? And there are couple of different angles to that. So you have distribution, which is your basics, or not your basic system, but your system from what you receive at your home, right, up to about 12,000 volts or so, depending where you are. And then there's a transmission system, and that's from 69,000 volts in our system up to 500,000 volts, right? For what we call 500 kV. So I got into the apprenticeship. So you had to go through 3 years of night school and 3 years of on-the-job training.
Wow.
Right? So you go through and you learn to climb, and you get over your fear of heights, and you learn to work a high voltage electrical system. And that was all through the company, right? So that was an opportunity. So I took the opportunity. And at the time when
I'm sorry to interrupt, but they came and presented that to you, or was it something you just kept applying for?
Yeah, when the opportunity came, you applied for it. Okay. And once you got into the apprenticeship, okay, you were in. Now it's up to you if you're going to get through this apprenticeship. Now I had a good driving force behind me. Our first child was on her way, right? And so. Yeah, in my mind, I'm getting through this apprenticeship.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to eat, right? And then, of course, then the income would change too, right? So, did that for a lot of years. Enjoyed it. Great company, great group of guys. I'm not just saying it because I did it, but there's not even enough credit given to people who keep the power on. It's they're a bunch of unsung heroes
because we don't think about it.
We don't think about it. You turn that switch on and that's it. Yeah, we don't think about it. It's like turning on the water or something.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. I googled thermography, SDG, and E, and his was the first name that came up.
Oh wow!
I swear to you, this morning I googled it. It's the first name that came up. I swear, Amir Smith. That's what it says. So there's not enough credit given to you.
Yeah, there are three of us there.
Wow.
And the other guy, Dan Forget, we were in the same apprentice class, right? So we came up through the same system, and we have a new guy also, Patrick Johnson. And so Dan, the company has only had, I believe there have been 5 thermographers. Wow. And so anyway, it's a kind of a big word or a big name, but it just simply means we're looking at the power system through an infrared camera. And let me go back. So did the apprenticeship. I'm jumping ahead. So did the apprenticeship, went through that beautiful career. Everything was good. Had the opportunity to learn some things about thermography. So I went and did my level 1 class. And it's the kind of thing you learn the science of it in class, but you learn your practical application through doing it, right? And because I had a background in the electrical field, then I knew what I was looking at once I was looking through the camera. So it for me, it was a natural transition. So it was nice. And but yeah, thermography, everything has a temperature, right? Where there's reflecting light, whether it's giving off heat, even if it's cold. It doesn't matter. Everything does. Everything in this room. This glass, the glasses, the table, the wood, the floor, everything. And through that camera, the camera is really the genius part. You just learn how to work it.
Yeah.
And so you're looking for anomalies in the system when you're looking through the camera. But you can do it you can use an IR camera for anything, literally anything. There are home inspectors that use it. The military uses it.
Sure do.
All sorts of people. All the utilities.
I know.
Yeah, high end stuff. And all the utilities are using it because what you're trying to do is find something and deal with it before failure happens. And that's kind of, I think, the short version of it. But.
I love it, man. And that's in itself a great story because we talked about, you know, it was a little slight comment you made about education and getting out of high school and everything. Look where you're at. I mean, that's, you know, so far past college, what you're talking about right now, you know, the education that you have now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You could be a teacher. Don't care if you graduated high school. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, you're the one. So I wanted to just have that conversation about, you know, the corporate career, that you know, that business, because now we're going to get into, you know, what else is going on in the world now. Is that cool?
Yeah. That's
all right.
Good.
So it's
that's
time
good.
for the reveal. Okay. So as we encourage entrepreneurs, we understand corporate work, and we also understand corporate mobility and using growth in earnings to maintain your great corporate job while becoming an entrepreneur as well. One of the smartest ways to accomplish this, real estate ownership. Now, we'll talk about Pepper Tree Suites in a minute. We also understand creativity and how sharing your creativity with others can become a business of its own if it's planned correctly. Treci Smith is the owner and founder of Treci Smith Designs. Now imagine marrying the two ventures, no pun intended. Today we're talking to two people that made a reality out of most couples' fantasy. We welcome again Amir and Treci Smith to the show.
Thank you.
That all makes sense, right? I want to talk about Treci Smith Designs.
Okay.
So much. You know what? And I've been working on my reading out loud. Did I do all right?
You did really good, yeah.
Because
I'm all the time.
It's not reading out loud for me.
I'm about to read it again as soon as I can find it. Okay, here it is. But first, I want to just talk about, I want you to tell me where this business all came from, Treci Smith Designs. I want you to just start from, you know, the brainchild.
Oh, okay. I always say that design is in my blood.
Okay.
I come from a family full of women. So out of my grandparents, there's 7 girls, 2 boys.
Wow.
And so that influence of those women in my life and the different style and military plays a part in that because the moving around and seeing different places and how people live. And then my mom, the thrifting side of it, definitely made a big influence on that. So I feel like naturally as a designer, I feel like it was already in me. Having kids and buying real estate is what brought it out. So I was always into, I remember at about 7 years of age, my parents, they had bought our first house, and my mom drew, me and my sister had a share room, and she would draw Charlie Brown, because that was who we were into at the time, on the wall. And so seeing that really sparked my imagination on how to be creative for your spaces. And so it was so comforting when I look back at it, because it just made me feel like, oh, she was making this so special for us. Like this was our space. And so I think once we got married and had kids, I feel like that was what I wanted to incorporate in our family as well, which I'm a self-taught designer, so I didn't go to school for it.
Yeah. I love
like
that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
So it's just about creating that vibe.
Yeah.
And that's how Treci Smith Designs.
That's what's That's what's up. You know, and I was going to ask you too, how much of it was studied or how much of it just came from visions within. But it's you didn't do, you know. And it's the second time the kids were mentioned. So I gotta say, some beautiful kids, and I want to say your twins, but y'all's twins. Like it's kind of banana. Yeah, because I look at them, it's like, yeah, that's all of me. No, that's all Treci. Beautiful kids.
Yeah,
beautiful kids, and it's beautiful just to be around family. You know, people who love family like the way you guys do. I've seen some awesome pictures. So now I got to read out loud again because I thought it was so cool. I love what you just said about you know the business and how it came about. But I read something else on the homepage of your website that is absolutely poetic to me. Okay. I just love the way you broke it down, and I'm going to ask you to, you know, expand on it just a little bit after I read it. Okay. Describing my style and what motivates my design really begins with something deeper than aesthetics. Design is often thought of in terms of objects, couches, drapes, tables. For me, interior design is an expression of love, a way to honor what makes a room come alive. Creating a thoughtful space allows others a chance to be inspired, comforted, and engaged with their surroundings. It imparts an appreciation for beauty and art, and it has the ability to offer us all a sense of connection. This in particular drives my love of repurposing objects. Honoring the past by reusing something in a new way brings into harmony that which is traditionally thought of as opposing elements, young and old, glam and boho, city and country. It is here in this space of old and new that I find myself most inspired, honoring the past by sharing it with the present.
Yes.
That's bananas. Like I'm telling you, man, listen, if I had that funk flex, that's called bars. That's bars. I swear. I love it.
Yeah.
I read it like 4 times this morning. I swear.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Think about how she worded that in terms of, and I'm talking like you're not even right here. Think about how she worded that in terms of like honoring we never look at things like that in terms of honoring the past. It's like, oh, grandma passed this necklace down, or, grandma gave me these drapes, or, grandma gave me this bag or whatever. We never think about how that's honoring the past, because sometimes, like in this generation especially, we're so quick to sell it.
Yep.
Because we know that it's valuable more than it is valued.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
It's
for
a
sure.
whole different, like, and that now makes me think about like the stuff that my grandmother gave me. I'm like, wait, maybe I need to keep that. In terms of, because when you keep those things, or you in terms of looking at that as a repurposing for honoring that past, and let me lovely in terms of love pass it to someone else. Yo, that is the dopest shit I've ever heard. Like, for real. Like, when like, that made me like think about that. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
And anytime we talk about old and new, it's always great. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just love, finding a balance. You got to bring the old with you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? In some form or another. Yeah. But here's the thing though. Define repurposing, because now you can bring the old with you and kind of give it a new feel. Now, how does, what's that? How do you do that?
Well, it depends on what you need it for. Like, you may have an old, like for example, I'll give our liquor cabinet in our front room. It was something that probably would have been displayed back in the day for for like your special dishes. Okay. That you would see in your grandmother's.
The good china?
Yes, the good china. But for us, it's such a beautiful piece, the cabinet itself, that we don't have good china. That's not what we do.
Yeah.
But we like to entertain. So for me, that was a special place to hold all of the liquor that we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the new bar.
Not that we drink that much, but
I mean,
but still.
I won't tell if you won't.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for tuning in to the Same Business Different Day podcast. If you like the way that our show sounds and looks and are interested in doing a podcast of your own, send us an email. Yes, we've gotten into the podcast game, producing podcasts for individuals and businesses just like you. Contact us at adifferentdayradio@gmail.com or on IG at adifferentdayradio. The Same Business Different Day podcast is brought to you by YourInsurancePlace.com. YourInsurancePlace.com is a conglomeration of 2 agencies, Network One Insurance and Bill Corley Insurance Agency. Their property and casualty agents and brokers specialize in commercial insurance of all types, general liability, workers' compensation, professional liability, auto, agribusiness, and much more. They also have great insurance carriers for your homes and autos. How do I know they are that good? Because I'm one of the agents. We believe in ourselves, and you will too. Contact us at yourinsuranceplace.com or call us direct at 866-384-0479. That's yourinsuranceplace.com.
Hello, I'm William P. Toom. founder and president of Kaizen Group International, a San Diego-based business development company to support your bottom line. We specialize in recovering research and development, tax incentives, and reducing your energy utility cost expense. We advocate for your IRS cash rebates and credits, and we minimize the cost expense risk and increase your profit gain. Feel free to contact me directly through LinkedIn, and direct calls are always encouraged. Your success is our business. Thank you so much.
The Film Hub is the future of co-working in downtown Vista. Get energized in an inspiring work environment that is built for your success. With multiple membership options for workspace and private offices, you can become a part of our co-working community. The Film Hub makes it easier to produce the professional content your business needs. From video production, live streams, photo shoots, or in-person events, you can create all this and more in our audio and video facilities. Love your work and where you accomplish it. The Film Hub.
I feel like repurposing it's so important. It's sustainability that we need in life today. Quit throwing everything away. Everything's not trash. It's like find a new use for that. And like I mentioned before, me being the youngest of four, my parents had to be creative in that way. It's like we didn't throw away each time it got old. They just passed it down. And what was her dresser may have been a changing table.
We used to call it hand-me-down.
Exactly. You know, we're so eager to get rid of that now. It's like, no, these pieces are beautiful. They're well made. And they can be used for something else. And so, and now with our family of four, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So just make that piece special. You don't have to get rid of it. Just find another way to use it.
I love it. I love it.
So Amir, how did you, when I think about like Trecie's venture, right? How did you decide that you like envision your background to come together in that? And how does those visions like support each other?
We found a way to just blend them. I don't know that we planned to do it.
Yeah.
I think, we have 4 children, and we always wanted. We used to joke even before we had kids, right? We wanted to be able to travel. We wanted to take the kids, make sure that they're well traveled. And once we started to buy real estate, right? Before I would even ask Trecie about colors, if we buy this place, what should we do? This, that, and the other. The fact that she worked in the bank helped out a lot because I would run the numbers by her. This is good. Blah, blah, blah. This interest rate, we can do better, that sort of thing. So that was one thing. The other thing was that she was really good at it, at the design. And I was living it every day, right? And so I had to learn. A really good friend of mine, I learned this years later. I don't know, after we were married 20-something years, right? He was over, he had come over to the house, Daniel, Max Moses. So he's an artist. He comes in, real cool personality, just very cool dude. And he's in the house and he's looking around. He goes, you live with an artist. And it was like, bingo. I didn't realize that in the words, that the way he put it. And that really kind of opened me up to. So the house itself is her, that's her canvas, right? And then that allowed me to step back, make sure I keep myself out of the way,
right? Check
my ego. I'm a type of person. I'm almost a minimalist, right? I like just I'm good with the bare necessity,
right? And then you got with somebody,
and then I got somebody who repurposed
everything.
Everything. The house, the room could be put into a totally different shape when I get home, right? And I know that's kind of a long answer to the question. I don't even know if I answered the question.
But I think real estate is what connected.
That's what connected. That's what. Because then there was another canvas, right, which was the real estate space, right, And whether it was a home that we had purchased, or like I said, the idea of if we were going to do something we needed to paint or repurpose something or drapes or whatever it was, then I can consult with Miss Lady over here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we kind of found a way to pull that all together. And we were, and one thing that I think is important to say is that we were happy for each other in our ventures, right?
Yeah,
I didn't
there's no
get in her
envy.
way. There was and she didn't get in my way, and we just
Super
kept
important.
it.
Yes.
We kept it flowing, and that may be a conversation for another podcast.
Listen.
But it really is. You make sure in your marriage, and a lot of people, I know a lot of people don't think that you can have a happy, successful marriage, but you really can.
You sure can.
You just need to, both people go down the same direction, same path. It doesn't have to be at the same time. You can be,
That's
one
it right
can
there.
fall back, one can fall forward, as long as you're going down the same path.
I love that you said that it doesn't have to be at the same time.
No.
Because
it
a lot
doesn't.
of times when someone sees someone grow a little bit further, the other person's like, how come you're all the way up there? You're not going to reach back and see me? And I'm like, no. I still need your support.
Yes.
Like I still
Yes.
need you to yell up to me. You can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the same time. So for you guys to find that and to know that that is very important. That's why you guys have been together for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll look you guys up later for a class. You got to. I'm going to make it happen.
So tell us about Pepper Tree.
Pepper Tree Suite. So
Pepper
that's
Tree
Yes.
Suites.
that's kind of my baby.
Where I'm trying to stay.
For sure.
That's our Airbnb.
Okay.
That's
Short-term rental.
short-term rental. Oh yeah, our short-term rental. It's on our property, but detached from the home. It was a detached car garage, 2-car garage that we converted into an Airbnb, into our short-term rental. So that's my baby. I run it. I take care of that. Amir takes care of the other rentals, but yeah, we've had it running down since 2018 officially. I should say 2016 is when we converted, because it's a 2-story, so we converted the upstairs like 2016. But we had one of our daughter's classmates, her and her dad lived there for like 2 years because they lived over in Mexico, and she went to school over here, and so she wanted to. They just rented it for the first 2 years, and then after graduation, like time to go. Short-term rental.
That's right.
And it
But
pays
that's good
for
business,
college.
though.
Yeah, because that allowed the kids, that paid for the kids' college, right?
Damn.
So
Yeah.
you create an income,
Yeah.
right?
Made that money work for you.
You
Yeah.
make the money work for you because it doesn't get tired.
Doesn't get
Mr. Gentry said it doesn't get tired, and it keeps going on and on. That is what allows us to have 4 kids in college at the same time.
But let's be clear, we're not paying for 4
No
college educations at the same
they
time.
don't get up. No,
Our rule with our kids is the first 2 years,
we got
we got you. Past that, they need to get scholarships. They got to get
Figure
a
it
job.
out.
They got to figure it out for themselves because
Okay.
they're all 2 years
they're all
apart.
2 years apart.
So it makes it that much easier for
Right.
us to be able to fully help that
They
child.
got it all figured out.
Right.
They even had the kids at the right time apart. It's like 2 years. You got 2, and they got 2, and that's going to happen.
Honestly, it wasn't even planned that way. It was
It
just
worked out.
happened.
But if it is, then you're geniuses.
Yeah. You talk about
Because you
divine
end up
intervention.
with you end up with 8 years worth of schooling to pay for, right? And
Which
so
we didn't think that far ahead.
we know we didn't. When they got close, we were like, okay, that's where we were able to reach back.
Love it.
Although we did buy our first place. Actually,
Our
technically,
honeymoon
before
was
we
our
got
condo.
married. Yeah.
So when we got married, we're like, we're either gonna buy something or
We're
we're
gonna
going
spend
to
the money.
honeymoon, and we bought
We
a
chose to buy a
condominium in North
condo.
Park.
Yeah.
So
Look at the big brain on the Smiths.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys study real estate, or what was that? What went into this? When you guys were just like, you know what, we're gonna. Because I understand you guys were flipping houses as well, or
Well, we
and I don't know if flipping is a bad term.
No, it's not. It's not a bad term at all.
term.
Our strategy was to hold. Purchase and hold. create cash flow. Right? Nothing's wrong with them. That's great. Whole different kind of ball game. So our idea was to buy and hold. Now I say that, don't think I'm contradicting myself, but our first few places we bought, we did turn right around and sell them, but they were brand new construction, so we didn't technically have to flip anything. All we did was buy. The strategy was to buy first phase, right? So they're going to build 10 phases. Try to buy first phase. Oh, okay. You have built-in equity. Every single phase is built.
Yeah,
right. And then we would hold on to it. We had a partner, our first real estate partner, Ken O'Connor. We would purchase a place, hopefully in the first or second phase, hold on to it, rent that place to a new homeowner who maybe bought in the 7th or 8th phase that they wanted to get into the neighborhood to get their kids registered. So you had a built-in rental market also.
Right. Wow.
That's right.
Yep.
So you rent to them when their house was done, then you turn around and sell it.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh man, damn, this is not that hard. And then we did it again. Right? And then the idea also, while we were doing that, was to take California money and buy in the Midwest, because essentially you could take a single family home here and then buy a 4-unit or a duplex or triplex whatever it is in the Midwest for the same money, right? And then that starts your flow with your monthly income.
Hey, look at Amir giving you guys that knowledge for free. You talking about a free mentor.
I was going to say, you might have to start charging for podcasts, because my man just gave some knowledge, especially with the phases. I didn't even know, like, I've been looking into real estate, and I didn't even know, like, in terms of doing, that's very smart.
Yeah.
But this man then gave free gems. And people going to listen to this for free.
And at the time, it was, it was a little easier. Obviously. Yeah. But there's always opportunity. You just need to turn that on and figure out where it is. If you want to buy homes, you want to flip homes. We've done that a couple times too. You buy something out of an auction. We did that in the Midwest and flip it. That's cool. It's kind of a lot to manage. Yeah. Especially when you're out of state, because you need a really good team. People that you can count on. Because we made all the classic mistakes too, and you make money, you lose money, but what you really gain is the experience, and that's the part that's really, really critical is having the courage to pull the trigger when it's time. Yeah, and you don't want to sit there and overanalyze it, because a lot of people do that. Yeah, and that was one thing that worked really well with Trecie and I. Sometimes I'd come up with these crazy schemes and I wouldn't get really any pushback on, oh no, we can't do that. The kids, blah, blah, blah. We up and moved to Indiana in 2006. I left that job, really good job. And to go and get the kids close to the grandparents. At the time, they had 5 great grandparents alive. Right? Okay. In the Midwest,
St. Louis and Indiana.
St. Louis, great grandparents. So we were like, let's do it. But doing some of those other things gave us the confidence, right, to do it. We knew that we could eat, because there is a way to make money work.
That's right.
That's the key.
Yes.
And once you kind of figure that out, then the fear goes away.
Yeah.
That's the big thing is the fear, they're afraid.
Yeah. I feel like ground yourself, for sure. Ground yourself first.
Yeah.
Like we always say, like, this W-2 pays for our passion.
Right. Right.
So all you creatives and artists out there, it's just like, you got to have something to kind of
steady.
Yep.
Yeah. Because not everybody is born into money.
Exactly.
So exactly. You kind of have to use what you have.
We weren't taught this from our parents, so these are things we learned.
But you're passing these lessons on, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. 100%.
That's 100%.
That's just awesome. Let me for 5 minutes be one of your kids. For 5 minutes. Just need 5. I promise you I'm going to soak it all in.
Let me rent one of them properties, flip that real quick.
And going back to what you said earlier about like you was able to tell her and she didn't give you any pushback. That's called trust.
Yeah.
It's trust.
That's trust.
Right.
Man.
The first part of a relationship, right?
Let me help you out with this class.
A relationship in all ways, though. A business relationship as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any
Yeah, we very much
relationship,
have a
right?
business
Yeah.
relationship
Yeah.
also.
Even with your children. It's the same way. Friendship, relationship, business relationship.
It's all
works
trust.
all the
It's
same
gotta have
way.
trust.
That's what we tell our kids.
Around-
Don't lose our trust.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
And I know we probably heard that growing up, but
Yes.
it's a true statement.
Yes.
It's a true
Real
statement.
true statement.
Yeah.
That's a really true statement.
So let's talk about work-life balance. So what does that look like for you guys?
Oh gosh, let me see. I feel like I stayed home with the kids for 20 years. And I always like to say I was the CEO of the Smith household.
Because you were.
Because I kept it all together there with the kids and supported Amir and what he needed to do. And so once our oldest graduated and our youngest was on his way to high school, gave me the opportunity to go into what it is I wanted to do for myself. And I had his full support, the kids' full support.
I love that. Support,
It's the whole family support thing for me.
You know, it's just like I scratch your back, you scratch my back. So while you doing your thing, I support you, get you to where you need to be, and vice versa. It doesn't mean you're leaving yourself out, because I didn't feel left out at all.
Right.
At any part of our relationship. And like he said, the consulting was there between us along the way. The real estate, even with the real estate, running numbers and all that good stuff. You know, it's just like, that was me. I'm in the administration part of it.
Right.
You know, the collecting the rent, all of that was on me.
Right.
But I feel like going into my passion, which for me was the thrifting, and that led me into design. I had his full support with that. So, and the kids as well. So,
and that's a balance in itself for you, because that's really what you wanted to do.
That's really what
that's
I
a
wanted
comfort
to do.
zone for you anyway, right? So your work-life balance is your work, almost.
Right.
You know? That's pretty awesome.
And I don't
Not
even
many
see
people
it as
can
work,
get that.
because it's just something that I enjoyed so much already. I was told I was an interior designer. I didn't think that way initially.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Tell us this story. You didn't say this. When were you told this? Did somebody tell you this, or you said you were told?
No, it was like, I've always just naturally, for our house, it was different. Everybody's like, how do you have, like a beautiful home and 4 kids? It's like, I don't design around my kids. My kids work around how we position things in this house.
Exactly. Somebody tell them again. Somebody tell the people in the back again.
It's called boss.
It's okay to have that coffee table when you got a 2-year-old. You don't move that stuff out of the way. They learn. You teach your kids what to do and what not to do. You don't adjust things for your kids. They're coming into your world. You're not coming into their world.
Right.
So,
It's true.
once I was, friends or family would come to me, can you help me do this room? Can you help me do that room?
Okay.
Then that's where the whole interior
hey,
design came in for me.
Yeah.
Like I said, I never thought of that way. It was just me creating a vibe in the space for the comfort of whether it's our kids, Amir's room, our room. We have our adult room. When the kids were younger, we call our front room, which you've seen, the front room, our adult room. So that's where we put on the vinyls, have our little cocktail.
And it looks like that too. It looks like that. That's the vibe in there.
That's our room.
Yeah.
The family room, that's our family room.
Okay.
The kids' room, and I think I just said this recently, like we didn't make our room, the kids' room, so comfortable. They didn't have TVs in their rooms. That room was to sleep, maybe do homework, but we believe in the community. So eating dinner every night together, family nights, movie nights, and that's not just once a month. That should be every day.
Yeah.
Communicate with your kids or you will lose them.
That's right.
So that was what was important for us as a family. And so creating those zones throughout our home was important that's how the whole, I don't know where the interior design came in.
Well, who told
name. You? I want to say it was Kim Miles. Kim Miles, she was on Design Star. I think maybe season 2. She won. She was the first Black female to win Design Star.
Okay.
And I went on a friend of mine who's a makeup artist. She was shooting, Kim Miles was doing a shoot for Better Homes and Gardens magazine. And she was like, yeah, I'm doing this one lady's makeup. Her name is Kim Miles. And I was just like, like I admired her so much. I'm like, oh my God. Because I was a big HGTV person then. Love watching HGTV. And so she was like, well, do you want to go? You want to assist me? And I was like, sure.
Okay.
So drive out to LA, got to meet her. And so for Mother's Day, Amir hired her to come to the house to go over I wanted to just go over what my ideas were for the room. And she was the one who told me that I was a designer. She was like, you already have it.
There it is.
And so I was like, oh, that's what I'm a designer.
That's exactly what you needed to hear.
That's what I needed
right
to
person
hear.
at the right time.
Yep.
Man.
Good for you for making that like a Mother's Day whole thing.
I forgot about that.
Yo, that's dope. Yeah. And just I kind of want to highlight on this, just being, a therapist where I do with like family. That piece that you said about community, like you didn't design their rooms to be places where they had to hide out, that they had to come out in order to like mingle. That's missing.
Yes.
It's missing now.
Yes.
So for you to already in our space, everyone has to come out here and like if you want to watch TV, you need to come out here with everybody else and watch TV. Like that, man. Come on now with the class.
And even little things like we didn't allow them, and phones were just coming out. Our oldest is 25, so she was part of that generation. But we didn't allow phones at the table and all this other nonsense. Yeah, sure. We were going to just sit down, and we still don't. Yeah. And we're just going to sit down and eat and chop it up so that you're able to figure out and gauge where these kids are.
Yes.
So then you can intervene where you need to, right? And you can give them a little more rope on this other side too. So that they can figure some things out. But it was, you have to be involved.
Well, yeah, sure. And there's got to be that dialogue, right? Because if they're not picking up on your language, they got to pick up on somebody else's.
They're going to pick up on somebody else, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So this is the way that I communicate. This is the way that Dad uses his sentences. This is the way that Dad reads the news. The way he sees, that he interprets the news. I should say it that way, right?
Yes.
And so then they can just start to, because we were talking about it earlier, right?
You're gonna
you're picking up these pieces on how other people see things and do things, and they're all parts of you. And so if you're the part where it's just like, I'm the part that ignores kids, they're gonna be like, well, okay, I ignore people too.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You can't engage.
So now let's talk more again about the work-life balance a little bit, right?
Okay.
Because one thing that I remember about sitting across from you at the Meraki event was you're big jazz man, right? Yeah. You're big into music, So and we already talked about the tractor and everything out in the field too. So so I'm interested in like where tell me more about how you find your balance.
You mentioned music. That's huge. That's huge. So. One of the reasons I love jazz is because you get to sit and just listen.
Yes, sir.
Right? And bring it all the way down a little bit, because, you get these albums that are done in this beautiful way. There's a bit of improvisation in there, and sometimes there's words, obviously, depending on the artist. But
they scatter.
And you just one of the reasons, we like to I started even collecting vinyl is because there's no fast forward there. If you want to get past that song, you need to get up and pick the needle up, be careful, move it around, so on and so forth. But this is what I remember when my parents were married. I remember there was a music room, and there were, speakers and a turntable, and
that's right.
I don't even think there was furniture in there. I don't remember. I remember a few big pillows and those big ass headsets that went on your head with the curly thing that went right.
Mine was a standing room at my dad's house.
And I remember these. I remember seeing John Coltrane, Marvin Gaye, Miles Davis, Monk. All of these artists, and that was really a fond memory, right? And always wanted to recreate that. But to your point about music, though, it just allows you to relax, you know, because that part is very important to sustain your marriage. You can't go 24 hours all the time obsessing about the money and and this and that, all of these things. You have to decide at some point in time, this is how we're going to live our lives and what's important.
Yes, sir.
Right? So you need to, that part you need to figure out, and it's not easy, you know, but the big thing, like Trecie said earlier, when we had our first child, Trecie had a job. She had a good job at Southwest Airlines. That was like our traveling thing, right? We talked about it earlier what we want to do. We're like, oh, we're going to travel. So work for the airline. There's our ticket. Here we go.
Right.
Had the first child, and we were like, you know, we need to raise our own kid. We didn't know we were going to have 3 more. Right? But we started. Right. But we had kind of, I guess, put this system together, and the timing worked. I got into that apprenticeship, and we could afford to do it, right? Although we weren't able to do every single thing we wanted, but we had a foundation for where we wanted to go. I could hear Mr. Gentry in my ear, you know, do this, do, you know, that kind of thing. So,
there it is.
you know, back to what you asked me about where did we learn the real estate, I would say, you know, that my professor was Mr. Gentry when I was sitting in that chair.
There's no doubt.
Right? And he's giving me all of this information. And then we were able to take that lesson and then apply it to our lives in the way that it worked best for us, right? And then while we were doing that and crafting our lives, we knew that we still needed to have date nights.
Yes.
And if you don't have a work-life balance, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right?
So true.
So
Look at you guys.
you have to...
But we taught our kids.
We taught our
what we
kids.
showed our kids. We come first.
Yes.
And then them.
And then them.
Because that's what he learned from that
So funny.
friend.
That's like the airlines. You learn that on Southwest.
He learned that. Pulling the mask down, your own man.
Yeah.
But also,
You pass out, you ain't going to be able to
exactly,
say
that's
that.
a true statement.
but that's
Exactly.
also what he learned from that friend. Because
Yes.
remember, the
Exactly,
guy came in and said, hey,
That's my woman.
my woman.
Yes.
You know, and because that's something that a lot of couples now, people are starting to say that more.
Yeah.
In terms of, listen, we are the last ones left
Yes.
when they leave
When they
us.
leave.
Yeah. So we have to continue to always take care of each other in order
You
to
know
be
what?
able to
Because
move.
there are a lot of couples that as soon as the kids out the nest,
They're
They
out.
don't know each other.
They don't know each
They don't
other.
know each other.
They're like,
we
wait
can
a
stop
minute.
this
Yeah.
now.
They're
We
like,
just
So
yeah,
you know-
this charade is
Right.
over.
So you didn't like mac and cheese every day?
That's what we the kid driven marriage.
Yes.
That's what we try to tell people. Stay.
Yeah.
It ain't about your kids. Everything is about them. They don't need to be around sports 24/7 and you eating in the car and
Right.
you guys don't have time for each other as
All
a
you
family.
do
That's
is-
how you lose that relationship.
Exhausted all the time.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
a
how
lot
you
of-
connect with the kids.
Yes.
You don't put no TVs in the room,
Yeah.
so they have to
That's
come out to
right.
connect with you.
Right.
Yeah, a lot
And
of-
There it
don't
is.
let them plug it in the car. When I was taking
Exactly.
the kids to and from school, unplug that mess.
Yeah.
Like, this is our time to conversate. You
Pay
don't
attention.
have a lot of time with your kids as much as you think you do.
Yes.
You really don't. You lose them really between the age, I'd say about 14, 12 to 14.
Shit, it
is
was
when
me
they
at
start
12.
getting influenced by their friends more. And
12 for me.
yeah.
I was gone.
Yeah.
12 gone. You couldn't catch me. Okay. Yeah.
I feel like for me, it was my parents were the same way as far as like dinner table. We had to sit down to eat. We had to sit down and eat every night together. So that connection stayed with them and them being a part of our
it's
lives.
something that you're passing on.
Yeah.
And that's good to pass it on. You
Yeah.
gotta pass on the good stuff.
Yeah.
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 It kind of makes me excited to have kids now. Because at first I was like, whatever. But
I'm
now,
not gonna tell you my stories.
now
my
I'm
parents
like,
have been married
this
for
is
50
actually
years.
There
doable
you go.
and you can raise great citizens.
Yeah.
Yes, you can raise righteous citizens.
Because I met your kids and they
do
are
some things.
amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, going to like what this season is actually about, right? The whole what Zeke has been starting in terms of the Meraki season. What is your Meraki?
Now we understand what Meraki means, right?
Yeah.
It's,
Yes. Go over it again, but
when you put a piece of
your
yourself into what you do, right?
love
To
is
do
something
something
that
with
you
love.
That
right?
passion.
yes,
Yeah.
that passion. I would say it's my family, and and the reason I say that is because what we're doing is we want to develop kids or people, ultimately people, who go out and can do more. It's not just, I'm not talking finances either. Just they can be an even more developed person, human, right? And affect somebody else. The idea, see the whole thing, I have some young guys that I mentor, and it dawned on me when I'm talking to this young guy, what I'd like to do is create someone my daughter can meet, or help to create someone my daughter could meet, right?
Whoa.
And so it helps me to be very honest and open with that person and not hold back. So there's a little bit of a tendency within the cultures to not tell everything.
Not tell everything.
Right? Because you're giving them some secret. I don't know. There are no secrets. There
Which
are
is
none.
dumb.
There are none,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
it's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it up. Talk to people. And hopefully you can influence them. And because I was influenced by someone, what someone said to me. Mr. Gentry didn't have to say 2 words to me about it. I could just cut my hair and that was it.
Right.
Just go on and go, okay, well, sit in the barbershop. This is cool. But it got me thinking, right? And so I love talking with people.
Yeah.
Right. So that is my Meraki.
I love it, man. That was beautiful. That that's so important. I'm gonna let that breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna comment on it. You did that. Go ahead, Treci.
So Trecie, what's up?
I would say my Meraki would be, family as well. And just family and lifestyle. And putting in what, just the gardening and with the chickens and just creating a lifestyle that we've always talked about for ourselves. And even the hospitality of our short-term rental. It's like when people are there, it's creating a space that makes them feel like they're in our home without being in our home and making them feel welcomed and warmed. And I love creating those vibes. So just continue to create. Putting that love into the lifestyle and in our family. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm where I want to be right now, and I can't complain about anything at all.
Isn't that a beautiful place?
So, yes.
Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
It's a wonderful place.
Man.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, guys. Speaking of Meraki, this is the last episode of Meraki season. I've been teasing a special announcement for the last couple episodes, and now it's time. We got a drum roll, Mateo? We will be holding an in-person event, a meet and greet networking event with Meraki Allure and many of the guests from this season on March 26th. We're going to do a Q&A. We're going to have some food and drinks, and of course, some networking. The foundation this whole season has been built on. If you enjoyed the conversations we've had with these amazing folks, reach out to me at samebizpod@gmail.com, samebizpod@gmail.com for details on coming to this event. March 26th in San Diego. We're going to have a blast. Okay, so I want you guys to help me out a little bit, right? Because we do give some business lessons in each episode. And I picked up, there's so many gems that you dropped in this episode. It's amazing.
For
and
free.
It's not just,
For free.
And they weren't just business lessons. I mean, we talk about relationships. We talk about, family. We talked about a lot of gems that you dropped. But I'm going to give these 2 business lessons. The first one is a little bit about relationships. Now, this one is move in the same path and direction of your partner, even if it's not at the same time. You want to expand on that? You want to let it breathe?
I almost shouted.
You want to expand on it?
I will.
That's the one. Okay, please.
That's something we like to say. because it allows for growth in the relationship. Yes. Because we were young when we got married. We were 23 and 24 years old, right? So do you think we knew where we were going to be, what we were going to do? We didn't know. So you needed room. Allows grace, right? Something we all need. Some days I will come home from work and, just acting an ass, just, and
we had to talk.
And we had to talk, and what I learned was that I couldn't bring that home.
Okay.
Right. But we didn't have to get into a knockdown, drag out fight about it.
Sure didn't.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was going down the path, I may have been behind my wife at that point in time, and so that's what I mean by that, and then as we go, we get into our 30s, we're thinking a certain kind of way. We get into our 40s, we're in our 50s. So we are the beginning of our 50s. So our kids are now out of the house. We're somewhat moving. Now we're like at the same speed, which is kind of interesting. But throughout that time, we had to allow a little bit of grace. You're speeding ahead here, great. As long as we stay on the same path.
And also, I think at that time, it was teaching, and I don't know if we were even aware of it, but it was more about self-care. It's like if he had a tough day at work, instead of bringing that home to us and changing the household mood.
Yes.
Right. Because you had created a vibe in there.
Exactly. Don't come and disturb my vibe. Right. Because you messing with me and then there's real problems.
Yes, I'm reading you.
So our thing was, it's like if you had a rough day, go to Starbucks or whatever coffee house you want to go to, unwind, or bookstore, whatever it is he needed to do at that time for himself. Before you come home to us.
That's right.
Because even if he got home and it was just in his room, kids knew. Doors closed, don't bother him. Whether that's him or whether that's me. I can have a rough day with him at home. All day he comes home, and that's my time.
And it ain't permanent.
No, it's not permanent.
No.
Especially when you got that space.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You allow that little bit of space.
Yeah, because if you don't give that space, then it probably repeats itself.
It'll repeat itself.
And then you're teaching them to take that time for themselves, as well.
Y'all stop it, because I'm about to shout. Cut it out. Let's move on to the next lesson.
Next business lesson. But you know what, Trecie? I'm going to ask you to do this one, even though it wasn't yours.
Oh, okay.
Make your money work for you. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't argue.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Let me think about that one. You may have to start with Amir on that one. I'm sorry. I know what it means for me, and
what does it mean for you?
It takes it back to the real estate.
Yes.
Of making your money work for you.
Sure.
So finding ways to create a situation for yourself where that money works for you. So real estate is the biggest thing I can think of right now, to be honest.
But it gives you some space, though, right? Because if that money's working for you, then it allows you the time and the space to be able to do the other things that you like to do, right? Because that
without messing with that, I say the W-2 money, and so and I think that's very important. This is designated for certain things, but this. We can create what we want to create out of the money from the real estate. And for us, like we said, Pepper Tree Suites was creating that college education for our kids. So a couple of more years, it'll be our money.
You to be patient. And that'll be our money. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so I didn't get a chance to ask you ahead of time, but so you guys give me more information if I leave anything out. I'm going to go ahead and try to give some contact information to our listeners so they can find you, right? I want them to find you at 2 retail spaces, Sea Hive Station. Okay, and Kurtz Street Village Marketplace.
Kurtz Street Vintage Marketplace.
Vintage Marketplace,
yes,
okay.
Which
Kurtz
is
Street.
also known as Consignment Classics. It's on Kurtz Street. So there's 3 Consignment Classics in San Diego.
Okay.
But only one of them is the vendor space. And so that's the one on Kurtz Street. So we call it Kurtz Street Vintage Marketplace.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's from what I understand.
Arena.
Yeah.
Okay, over there in Point Loma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, both are in Point Loma.
Okay.
Sea Hive is in Liberty Station. So that's the newer one. Yeah.
I was just talking to somebody earlier.
Yeah, it's right where the Ace Hardware used to be.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where we're at now.
Yeah, I ride my bike over there all the time.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so from what I understand, though, about Kurtz Street is it's San Diego's largest antique mall.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can contact Trecie to hire her for some interior styling. How do they reach you for any of that?
Right now, I would say more on my Instagram. You can just DM me on my Instagram.
What's your Instagram?
At Treci Smith Designs.
Treci Smith Designs.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can we reach your Instagram as well, Amir?
Yes.
Okay.
What? I'm not.
What's your handle?
I don't remember.
Not so active. I think it's
Smith?
other dot
Is it
Smith.
Other
Other dot
Other
Smith.
Smith. There you go.
Smith.
Thank you. I'm new to it.
Just
I'm a
throw it
little
out
bit of a
there. It's all
dinosaur.
good. You got some beautiful pictures up there. Okay, so also rent their
Our Pepper
short-term
Tree
rental.
Suites.
Short-term
Yes.
rental.
Pepper Tree Suites, which was also featured on HGTV. I want you guys to check that out. HGTV, it was
saw that.
episode 3, I believe it was,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How dare you not tell me?
Treci
found
Smith
that out.
Designs. TRECI again. TRECISmithDesigns.com for more details and to read that excerpt that I mentioned earlier because it's just poetry. You got to read that. Okay. Like and subscribe us on @SameBizPod and at A Different Day Radio. Don't forget to comment and hashtag Meraki Season. We had a blast this season. We want to thank all of our guests. We thank all of our listeners and supporters. And lastly, I want to thank the A Different Day Radio crew, Mateo, Jeff,
Come on, Mateo.
James, Carlos, Nash, Greg, and all the folks behind the scenes that keep us looking and sounding good. Thank you, Natasha, for being my guest co-host again today.
It's not even work. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, this is a great time. All right. I put my production team against anybody, though.
Yeah.
We put things together here. So another great season under our belt. This is the end of season 4. And I'll see a lot of you guys over at the event on March 26th at the Meraki event.
Be there or be square.
I know, right? Thanks so much, man.
Well, we want to thank you, Zeke, for
Appreciate
putting this together. Natasha, thank you.
Yes.
This was awesome.
It's a blast, right?
Yes.
Very nice location. Very
Yeah.
nice. Very
I'm
nice
glad
facility.
we were able to drag you in.
Because he
Hope
was
to do
like,
it
I
again.
don't. he
I
was
would
like,
love
I
to,
don't know
man.
how to get them. I was like, I got them. Cool with them. Cool with them.
I just want to chill and just sip some wine and listen to some music with you. Maybe a little tequila and some music, man.
Yeah, we need to. I just picked up a Keith Jarrett. It was a 1971 Cologne, Germany concert. The whole thing is improvisation. It is.
Uh-oh. On vinyl.
I'm not gonna drop this mic, but you drop the mic.
Same business, different day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.